Hey everyone, this is Jesse coming at you with a little topic that I wanted to talk about. That particular topic happens to be my web host. I've been using powweb.com since I believe 2001. I think that's how long it's been. In any case, this is almost 2011, so it's been quite a while. Well, I started doing the TFWIRE podcast in August of 2005, and they gave us no problems. 2006 came around, 2007, 2008, 2009, no problems whatsoever from the web host. Well, all of a sudden, last week they decided, no, we're not hosting your podcast anymore. You're using way too many resources on this server, apparently a shared server. We're not gonna host your podcast any longer. From what they told me, my web host, they said that the podcast was using way too many server resources, that it was preventing other users' websites from loading on that particular server. And we haven't put out a new episode of the TFWIRE podcast in over a year, unless you want to count the April Fool's episode. So I highly doubt that the podcast is using as many resources as what my web host is saying. I just don't think they want to host the amount of files that I have on there, or the amount of space that those files are taking up. So what they told me to do, or what they actually did, was they blocked people from accessing my website. So TFWire was down, TF Rollout was down. I've also got a few other small sites on there. Those were all down. If you went to any of those, it just gave you a message saying that the website had been restricted, and that you couldn't access it. So what my web host did was they sent me an email saying, delete these files. All those files happen to have been the TFWire podcast. So what I did was, and they were hosted on my server in a directory called podcast, and within that directory there was also a couple of blogs, there were some other pages, and so on. So there wasn't just the podcast files in there. So what I did was I went ahead and deleted the podcasting files, all those MP3s, they were gone. Luckily I have them all backed up on my machine, so if I if I need to, I can get them back. So I deleted them from the server. They reviewed it. They said, oh, okay, everything's okay. They brought my website back up. Well, afterwards, PowWeb decided that, hey, we're just going to delete the podcast directory entirely as well. They didn't tell me they needed to do that. They just went ahead and did it. So once they did that, that deleted the entire TFWire website. That deleted the entire TF Rewired website. Those were all gone and shot. Luckily, the web host backs up, does a nightly backup of my entire site. I was able to retrieve the podcasting directory to bring back the TFWire and TF Rewire website, so we're all good there. But that was pretty shitty of my web host, if you ask me, to just go ahead and delete it without telling me. They didn't mention that in their email, so I thought that was pretty shitty. So while the website's back up, the TFWire podcast, at least the archive of those files, is currently offline. I'm trying to find a new web host to host podcasts. Either a web host that will allow podcasting files, or a web host that's specifically for podcasting and podcasters. I've got a few ideas of some hosts out there. I've been hitting people up on Twitter, asking around, and they give me some suggestions. But I'm not sold on any one particular web host yet. So what I'm doing is I'm letting you know that currently the TFWire podcast, all the archival files, all the episodes from 1 through 200 are currently offline until I find a new web host that will host them. So if anyone out there that's watching this video knows a web host that will allow for podcasting files, or specifically targeting podcasters and podcasting, give me the name of that web host here in the comments if you want to. You can send me an email to matrix, matrix.prime, prime, @gmail.com. You can hit me up on Twitter at twitter.com/matrix_prime. You can let me know there as well. Some of the podcast specific web hosts I found are quite pricey, so I'm kind of wondering how I might be able to pay for that. Well, the TFWire website and the TFWire podcast is pretty much just archive at this point. What I had intended to do with TFWire.com was introduce a new podcast and introduce some video casting. I've actually had 2 weeks off from work until 2011, so I was looking forward to starting some of that now. Now that I'm not busy and I'm done with classes for the semester, But now that I can't host them on this server, I'm trying to find some other place to host those files. So that's I've kind of taken those plans for TFWIRE and put them on the back burner for now. I still am hoping to do what I intended to do with that website, but for now, I'm more interested in trying to find a host that will allow me to do that. So again, if you know of any hosts out there, let me know in the comments, email me, hit me up on Twitter. I'd be very, very thankful for that. Still trying to figure out how I'm going to pay for this. You'll notice some ads in the video, maybe around the video here. Hopefully some of those will help pay for this, because if you're getting a dedicated server, it can be quite pricey. So that's really all I want to talk about. So for now, if you're interested in the TFWIRE podcast, if you're interested in listening to an archive of those files, unfortunately they're currently offline until I find a new web host. So we'll see how that goes. If you want to stay up to date on the subject, I'll try and keep posting videos here. Also check out forums.tfwire.com. While the community there is pretty much dead at this point, there's like 4 active users maybe. The forum is still alive. It's still there. It's still up. I still occasionally post on it. So be sure to check that out, and be sure to stay tuned here to YouTube for more videos here on the subject. So until next time, this is Jesse signing off.